that we usually can work with them by volunteering to do it. We do the same thing with post-petition taxes. You know, when the taxes come due, I can always, what I used to be always to call, this guy died though, he used to work there. We could call and get them to add post-petition taxes into a Chapter 13 plan because the person just would not pay going forward. You know, Elijah Noel is over there.
Yeah, I know Elijah.
Yeah, Elijah collects now for the Shelby County and the city taxes. You ought to get Elijah on sometime.
Is he in the assessor's office?
No, he works for.
Is it Burgess or?
No, he's in.
He's
a
over
law
there
firm.
with what's her name? Yeah, he's at Harris Shelby.
Harris Shelby, that's right.
But that's Regina Newman.
Yeah, right.
It's the tax person.
Right, it's a tax person,
Okay.
right? So,
Okay.
but Elijah does all of their tax work.
Okay.
So we ought to get Elijah on sometime.
Yeah.
He's an interesting person.
He is. I know Elijah well. Elijah and I've had many joke conversations. Yeah.
And so what we used to call, the guy name was Drew. I can't think of Drew's last name right now, but Drew died. But I could always call Drew and tell him, say, look, can we add these taxes into...
Where did he work at?
He was working for the tax assessor's office.
Okay. He wasn't in Chancery Court, though, was he?
No.
Because there was a guy that was doing all the stuff that was, you know...
He's still there now.
Yeah. Well, I thought there was a guy before him, too, that was doing... That's why I thought his name was Drew.
No, Drew died. He worked in there really well.
How old was this guy?
He's probably in his 50s.
Oh, when he died?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we could call him and we would just do a consent order. Now, you can do it by consent, but you can't force them in. But the question becomes, do you want it or don't you want it? That's the question.
All right.
And so, and look, and so everybody's idea now is to try to keep homeowners into their homes. So if this is a way to get the homeowner association dues paid, why not put it in the bankruptcy case? Did she have enough time to get it done? In your case,
I don't know.
or was she nearing the end?
Yeah, I don't remember the exact. I think she may have been done.
Okay, the case has been
The
completed.
case that may have been completed,
Okay,
and
And-
this
and
debt
receipt
was
of
during
discharge?
that time frame.
yeah,
But that debt wasn't discharged.
okay.
It was during that time frame, and so I can't remember the specifics. It's been a while.
It's a secured debt too, you know, because it's
It-
secured by the home.
It should have been.
Right.
Yeah, except for I got it dismissed. But yeah.
Yeah, you got to dismiss
Yeah.
over there in
Well,
in sessions.
but then it went up to go to circuit court. I got it dismissed in circuit
Really? And then how to get to Sixth Circuit?
because they appealed it.
Oh,
They appealed the General Sessions ruling.
oh, really?
And it went up to circuit court.
Wow.
And that was during the time at circuit court where they were requiring you to have this bond.
Uh-huh.
And if you didn't have bond, that means that you didn't perfect your appeal, and they were dismissing all these appeals.
Okay.
And they came out later and said that was a screw up. They should have never done
Should
that.
never done that.
Yeah. But some attorney played the game and used something in the statute to get that done that way. And that, depending on which judge you got, the judge would either dismiss it or let it go forward. And I ended up with Alice Andradas.
Oh.
And he was like, no, you didn't comply with the rule. And Strickland agreed to just dismiss it.
Really?
Yeah.
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 So the thing about it too, Daryl, is that, and I'm glad, and I love the way that you're posing the questions, because what we're doing is educating the audience
Right.
on how to use the correct terminology. And one thing I keep hearing all the time from clients is, I don't want that under the bankruptcy case. What does that mean? I don't want it under the bankruptcy. I told you I didn't want my car under there. That's not how it works. That's the wrong terminology. Because when a bankruptcy case is filed, a new entity comes into being. It's called the bankruptcy estate. That consists of all of your property wherever and whomever has it. So now the question becomes whether you're going to service it within the bankruptcy case. Now, though it's listed, doesn't mean that you will service it in the bankruptcy case. And so, with a Chapter 13, normally only the secured creditors and priority creditors are given the best treatment. and then it moves down to the unsecured creditors. And most of the times, people are doing Chapter 13s because they cannot afford to do Chapter 7s.
Well, no, that's not necessary.
Because we require that you have all your money up front to do a Chapter 7.
Right, but the
Yeah.
reason why people wasn't doing the Chapter 7s is it's harder to do Chapter 7.
Only because they can't afford it, because now it's 60, you could earn $60,000 and do a Chapter 7.
That changed that.
Yes.
Okay, but before that, it was all about, man, it was rough.
It is, but the thing about it is that the medium income has continued to raise and raise and raise. So now it's $60,000.
But then they also would consider in the new rule, the newer law, the 2005 law,
2005.
it would require, they would also consider household income in your Chapter 7.
They still do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
In prior to 2005,
They
they
didn't.
didn't do it. So that becomes a little harder
It
because
does.
if your spouse ain't have nothing to do with your nonsense,
That's right.
and now they're responsible, or not really responsible, but their income is considered in whether or not you will be able to get your Chapter 7.
That's right. It's household income. That's correct. Now, so we have Chapter 7, Chapter 11. This new thing there is called a Sub 5, Chapter 11,
Oh, wow.
which is magnificent because I don't know if you knew all of the rules and regulations that used to be with the Chapter 11s, where you had to have pay quarterly fees to the trustee's office. You had to have a disclosure statement, and what we have now is something called a Chapter 11 Sub 5, which it streamlines all of that. So none of that is necessary, but they appoint a Sub 5 trustee,
Okay.
and the Sub 5 trustee is there to navigate your way through the Chapter 11.
Okay.
It has been phenomenal
Okay.
for us to use in order to help relieve debt like
Okay.
that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what is this purpose of this Sub 5?
It is to take you out of the routine run-of-the-mill Chapter 11 because it was too costly for the average average business owner. Somebody who only had maybe $1 million or just $100,000 business would be overwhelmed with all of the money they had to pay out, plus attorney fees, plus court costs, plus CPA fees, doing the monthly operating reports.
Because it's got to be done in a Chapter 11.
That's right. So all of that was just
my goodness,
oppressive for a small business person. And so when they came up with during the pandemic
Okay.
that people could do a Sub 5.
Okay.
And again, it's been phenomenal.
Okay.
Now, also, we do have we can do a business 13 too. Did you know that?
I didn't know a business. I always thought the business always fell under 11.
No, you can do a business 13.
Okay.
And so all of these means tests and all these other things, they are there to prevent the individuals from taking advantage of some of these things.
Okay.
But business people can use it at free will and do a lot of things that individuals cannot do.
Okay. Because the business, it's not a wage earner like it is
That's
for
right.
13.
That's right.
It's a restructuring.
That's right. Exactly.
Okay. And so they're basically trying to allow the business to continue to go forward, but we're just going to change and clean up some stuff.
That's exactly right,
Okay.
Daryl. So it is to get you structured.
Yeah.
It's to get you on a budget.
Okay.
It's to help you overcome the bad habits that you had created. Because sometimes people who are in business think that they're making money because they're handling a lot of money. Have you ever seen that?
I have.
They just man.
It's just going through.
Right, I'm just handling money, and but it's just going in one pocket and out right out the other one. It's because they don't have any structure. They don't have anybody watching how the money. They don't even understand the.
Well, the money is flowing.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not. You're not keeping none of it.
They don't understand how much it takes for me to be successful. What my profit margin ought to be. What's the cost of my goods? and all of that kind of thing.
That is an absolutely amazing statement. I don't mean to interrupt you.
Right, no.
That is an absolutely amazing statement because I can't tell you the number of businesses, because I do work for a lot
Yes,
of them,
yes.
and I can't tell you the number of them that do not know their number.
Don't have a clue as to
have a
what
clue
their
their
numbers are. And, but that's okay because the entrepreneur spirit is something that we encourage. And the thing about it too is, and I tell people all of the time, I had a girl in my office today. She wasn't a business person, but she teared up, you know, because when they hear the word bankruptcy, I never thought that I would be at this point where I have to do this. So what's going to happen to me next year when I try to do my lease? I said, I don't think we ought to be thinking about next year.
we need to figure out about right now.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I said your 10 days on your eviction will run Monday. I think that's what you ought to be concerned about. But she want to know, why is that going to affect me next year? So sometimes what we do there.
But it ain't going to affect her. It's going to be beneficial, ain't it?
Well, the landlord may or may not renew the lease. You follow what I'm saying? There's nothing saying that he has to renew the lease.
But if it's a business, don't you have a 5-year lease now?
This wasn't the business. It was the individual.
Oh, I thought it was, okay. I thought
It was an individual.
Okay, yeah, individual.
Yeah, individual. They just got a 1-year lease most of the time, 2-year lease.
Because they can't get rid of you or stop your lease because you file bankruptcy.
That's right.
But after your lease ends,
They don't have to
renew
renew.
it.
That's right. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And so the thing about it is that we encourage people to bite the apple. Get out there and do. And if you got an idea that something might be profitable, we encourage that.
Right.
And so but we also encourage that you get some training, that you understand certain things, and that if you don't know something, ask. And that's one thing that we have a hard time with doing, is admitting, first of all, that I don't know.
Yeah.
That I need some assistance,
All right.
and you reach out to people. You'll be surprised at the number of people who would be willing to come in and help you. And I also tell them all the time too, is that if you've ever been successful, you know the way. The yellow brick road. You know what I'm saying? If you know how to get
there
it,
before.
you've been there before.
Yeah.
I mean, you might get thrown off the path, but you've been there before, and you know that if you work more than 40 hours, now you can't do it in 40 hours.
You really can't. Man, you really can't.
You can't do it in 40 hours. It's going to take burning some oil. It's going to take some weekends. It's going to take nights in order for you to be successful.
That's my father thing, man. You ain't making no money laying in that bed.
No, you can't do it.
Can't make no money laying in the bed. So, no, I get that.
Yeah,
I get that.
yeah.
It's interesting, Jerome, and I hear what you're saying. I'm still struggling with it mentally. Because what it does, and I'm talking about the fact that I get a windfall. Okay, I'm not talking.
I see you back.
I'm going back.
We want you to have a windfall.
But if I get a windfall, and I'm required to disclose
That's
it,
right.
and I'm required to potentially increase my percentage, debt credit relationship percentage.
That's right.
It almost breeds fraud.
Possibly.
Because, if a person thought that I got to give up whatever, then I may not disclose that information.
I kind of think that if it involves a legal matter, say it's an accident or something like that, I believe that the attorney who would handling the case has an obligation to tell you
We'll
that you
have to
need
talk
to
about that.
report that to.
Well, because the real question, and we'll go on, is whether or not, if that's an ongoing bankruptcy, whether or not that attorney, anything that you have is owned by the bankruptcy court, and whether the attorney has to get permission from the bankruptcy court.
That's exactly right, because you're not even supposed to represent a person who's in a bankruptcy case without filing an application to be hired.
Right.
So yeah, so it's a
Yeah.
problem.
All right, y'all. We got one more iteration. So if you got any bankruptcy questions or you got any other questions, save them up. Get with us. Call